Dina, so we've had the swearing in of Scott Pruitt, another controversial choice for Donald Trump. Explain to us why there was so much opposition against him.
Well, he was one of the more controversial choices for the cabinet. And one of the reasons is his reported ties to the oil and gas industry because he is from Oklahoma. So as the Attorney General of Oklahoma, he had sued the EPA 14 times. That is an extraordinary amount of times to sue over regulations from a particular state. And the Democrats really staged as much of an opposition as they could to this nomination. They boycotted the vote in committee. That obviously did not help because Republicans are the majority, but they did stage that boycott. And in the meantime, Pruitt is now inheriting hundreds of employees who are equally worried about how he is actually going to run the department and how much of the department will be left. One of the things President Trump had said during the campaign is that he wanted to essentially dismantle or bring the EPA down to a bare bones way of operating. And so these workers and scientists are now concerned that their budgets and staff are going to be cut in half, that they're going to be interfered with in terms of their scientific and regulatory work. And one of the main things is their concern of Pruitt's ties to the fossil fuel industry.
Dina, there's been more drama with this exposure by the Associated Press on this draft proposal by the Department of Homeland Security to essentially just round up illegal immigrants. What more can you tell us about that? Because the White House has now sort of backed away from this legislation.
They have. This draft proposal is in the very early stages, and that's what DHS is saying. It's in the very early stages. It hasn't even been fully approved yet by Secretary Kelly. But it does give a window into the thoughts of how the Trump administration may go about with further immigration and deportation measures. Now, the White House on Friday did back away from it. Sean Spicer, the press secretary, said that there are no plans and nothing is being put into effect in terms of using the National Guard. But I'll just read you very quickly the thinking behind this. This is from the actual memo. Now, the National Guard, when they're not fulfilling federal duties, is part of the jurisdiction of each state's governor. And it says here that based on their training and experience, these men and women are particularly well suited to assist in the enforcement of federal immigration law and augment border security operations. And that would take place in 11 states, according to this draft memo.
And finally, Dina, Trump has been tweeting again. That's how he likes to get his news out. What has he been saying this time? Well, it's multiple times a day as usual, but one of the things that he tweeted very early this morning is that a list of mainstream news organizations, ABC News, CNN, New York Times, and so forth, are fake news in all caps. And as you see there, calling these news organizations an enemy of the American people. He stated that he himself is not an enemy of these news organizations, but that they are an enemy of the American people. Now, that goes along with his regular rhetoric, as we saw on Thursday's press conference, being combative with the media. And that's not unusual for a president. But this tweet really takes it to a whole new level, really exacerbating this idea that fake news exists among the mainstream media. And it remains to be seen, because it's still so early in the administration, how tired the American people might get of this type of rhetoric against the free press, and how far this type of rhetoric will go. Most people say that this is actually doing him a disservice in the end, but this is his thought process, and he keeps tweeting about it nearly daily. Indeed, he does. And we have another 4 years to go. So let's see how things evolve. Dina, good to speak to you.
Dina, we'll see.
Dina Demetrius there in Los Angeles.